This is some information about our program called Reimagine Communication that starts in August. So me and Lee, we're just gonna comment on these pictures that you will have an idea what this program is about and why we do it, why we offer it, and our learning from the last 30 years or 60 if you add it up, 30 each. We want to create a space of this program for people who wish to integrate NVC just beyond trusting people's good intentions, because looking at the world, that doesn't always work. So hopefully something more, even more real. We all have the power to either contribute or to harm. So that is the reality we're living in. And how do we then relate, navigate, and live in a world where this is.
So let me say something about the structure. So we did for many years, we did a program in Sweden because we are both in north of Sweden. We did a program that was called Year Two because it was based on that everyone had done a year-long training. And for this year two, it was clear that it was not any more about aha moments or like insights. You know, when you start learning NVCs, like these moments of, now I get it, or now I see something. But then it was more inviting the hard work, meaning we ask people, and we will ask the people that participate here as well to pick three relationships, and one is already there, which is with yourself. But the other two are with people that you want to grow with and through, and to kind of, and they're going to be real people. So it's not going to be exercises. It's going to be explorations on how to connect with them. But we wanted to be like real in that sense. And we've done that many years, and we see that it's a good reference point.
Yeah, do you want to say something about this, Liv?
Well, both of us, as Kai was saying, we are both into NVC like the last 2.5, 3 decades, which is like a long time. And we've seen a lot of the beauty with NVC, that it has a lot of those strengths that m people are longing for, like knowing how to create connection, knowing how to have empathy and clarity in the connection, and knowing how to cooperate, knowing how to include more voices or more opinions, more people. So we want to draw on in this program. We draw on respecting that those strengths, and then we want to go a bit deeper.
Yeah, we noticed that there's some pitfalls that the practitioners might fall into, or we might become naively idealistic. For instance, we when we learn about needs, so we just assume that, well, everyone is, they're trying to meet their needs. So then we kind of sometimes forget or don't know how to handle when people meet their needs in a way that harms others. So how do we then set boundaries and so we don't get taken advantage of? Or so, do you want to say something, Liv, about the last points? So we have
I
some of your
I
voices.
do. To me, the last year's program, it's been so clear. I've been really enjoying this program this year. The first year we do it in this way, and it is clear that many of us, when we practice NVC, we lack discernment. We lack knowing how to make decisions. And then instead of kind of connecting and making choices, we become kind of demanding, but in a sneaky NVC way. We become kind of expecting others to understand what we understand and expecting them to show empathy, and they might never have taken any training in empathic listening or so that we might have had. And so we see that I have at least seen in myself those sides, and I think the people that has done the program this year has had a chance to kind of grow up through this. to really keep the core of what NVC can bring, but not be so naive with it.
Yeah.
That's what I
And
wanted to
when we
add.
say naive, we want NVC to work with everyone, not just people who like NVC. So we want to include everyone and not just the NVC friends that we might have.
My picture?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, as I've been a long time in NVC and done lots of those IITs, the international longer trainings and so on, I hear how easy it is for all of us to create some kind of dogma or static ideas rather than just staying human. And I'm not saying I can also get drawn into it, but that it's problematic for me. It's like the I with this training, we really want to keep our eyes open for those things.
And this maybe you have heard or read. Give a man a fish and he will be hungry again tomorrow. Teach a man to fish and he will be hungry no more. So how does that fishing connect to this program? We want to support more independence in the sense that we're more able to do things, not just like in the learning phase, we're dependent on someone else to empathize with us, for instance. And when we learn to do that, when we learn to listen to ourselves, then I can still enjoy when someone gives me a fish, but I still know how to hear myself. So there will be more maturity that we're aiming at, kind of. And we are also going to use some terms, horizontal growth, meaning that that we can learn about skills, for instance, like guessing feelings and needs. That would be a horizontal growth. And then we want to also have vertical growth, meaning we also want to see the world and interpret the world from a different place or from many places, so we can understand the differences better. Otherwise, we might just enjoy being with people who are like us. So
And I
we
think this is one of the things where I think people have grown the most, seeing
this year, yeah,
this year
yeah,
from noticing we even play with the concept of horizontal empathy and vertical empathy and how they can grow like the balloon. It's not about having a, really long, small balloon, but it would grow on all in all angles. And that vertical empathy, right, I think we're in the program right now. People are really exploring how can we not only listen to the experience of the person, this experience they have, and be with them with feelings and needs, but how can we also be with them in how the experiences show up? Like what kind of patterns, what kind of choices, what kind of experiences does this person have that creates the experience they have around their needs? And it's been super. I must say I've really been enjoying to see that we're expanding the concept of empathy.
yeah. And another way to kind of try to word it is, if you're in a group, let's say in a room with 20 different people, and you're listening to the same talk or same doing the same kind of workshop. And later during the break, when you chit chat about what happened and how it was for you, you might notice, or maybe you have that experience, that people interpret the session or the talk very differently. So to understand how come we interpret the same external experience very, very differently, how we make meaning or make sense of it in different ways. So having kind of a map to understand those kind of differences helps us relate specifically to differences. So we don't try to only to meet where we're the same, like going to the humanness, but also going to the difference we have. And if we look at the news, there's a lot of differences being expressed on the news right now. So it is helping us to navigate all those things that might be going on in the world. And I just took some of the topics that are worth mentioning that might be different from any other NVC training that you have participated in. What shall we do with this, Liv? Shall we read?
No, I think you guys can read, and then if you have questions around any of those, please let us know. If anything, or maybe if you want to say something about one or two Kai that you e- enjoy, that you like, that we have there.
Yeah. Yeah, like the development of empathy. Like to be able to empathize, because we spend quite a lot of time, we've learned and seen how our empathy have changed during the years, and we can also, because we have the opportunity to be with people for a long time, we can see that empathy is something that we grow into. If we have an idea of what we can grow into, it seems to go a little bit faster, like Liv said, with the vertical and horizontal empathy, for instance.
One of the subjects or topics that for me has been super important the last years is uh, maybe you guys have heard about Lisa Feldman Barrett. She's a researcher on emotions, and she points at the possibility that emotions are constructions rather than that they are things or things that exist in our brain or that we all experience the same. And in this program, we are playing with that quite a lot around what about if emotions are constructions? Where is responsibility then? How can we how can we change the way we hold emotions so that they become of service to us rather than us feeling like we've had by the emotions? So that's one of my favorite. And the other two favorites, I think, well, I don't know. When I look, I like all of them, is also the development of gratitude. We look at gratitude from the very basic, like thank you, to gratitude that is in-depth part of communication. How does gratitude show us ways to communicate rather than something we give to each other? So this is one of my favorites, one that I've written about as well. And as well as self-talk, self-love, self-empathy, uh, the way we have found a way to do that, I really enjoy. Did you want to say anything more about any of those, or does anyone have a question? Please let us know.
So then I'll add, I find a lot of joy in understanding and how we can relate to power. If we don't feel comfortable navigating our power and other people's power, life can be quite tricky. So the use of power and understanding hierarchies, those are kind of interesting because they focus on topics that a lot of people have a hard time with, that might be challenging. So those are quite exciting to spend time with together with people who are curious.
And let me say also something. So each subject or each topic, those and some more because people come up with requests. We usually do some kind of demonstration, like some a bit of theory, and then it's very much practical explorations, exercises, and then people will there will be a what we call an exploration group of three or four, where you meet in between and where you do another deep dive into the same subject. So each subject is done at least twice because of the chosen relationships also that you choose to work on and go a little bit deeper with. So that's
Yeah.
more of the structure.
And the exercises we have constructed are, like Liv said, they are meant to help us kind of have an inside experience, meaning it's different that if me and Liv talk about our beautiful lake and how wet it is and the temperature of it, and then the exercises we have constructed, it's more like, oh, we're inviting you to take a swim in the lake. so you get a first person experience of the topic rather than hearing it as a theory or something. So we try to make it the learning that it's from different kind of perspectives. And then Liv mentioned this already, communication and how we relate. We choose three relationships, and one is yourself, because that's the most important one to be to get to know and to be friends with. Then that you choose two others, and it can be a close person, or it can be a colleague, or a challenging one, or someone who you just want to have more fun around.
And some people choose to have someone that they will never meet, like a politician or but someone that impacts them a lot, or a person that has passed away that they still want to heal some of the pain around. So there are many possibilities. But we've seen that when people choose relationships and go deeper, not just one exercise on one with one relationship and then another one, but actually to deepen it brings what I said in the beginning. It's not so much about insights, but it's actually doing the work, putting the intention in, and see what will happen when I show up differently. And it can also be scary. It's like the sense of it takes some courage to show up in a new way, but it's well worth it many times.
Yeah, and just a couple of comments more about these choices of relationships during the years, both this year but also prior years, when we use this kind of this way of working or learning. A lot of people celebrate during the program or after that the goals or wishes that they had for these relationships, that to become closer with one's father, or to be able to actually set boundaries at work towards a colleague, or ask for a raise, or that people actually achieve those things. So then the learning is, it has another dimension that impacts one's everyday life in a different way as well. That is really wonderful to be part of.
When we teach MVC, we many times to create clarity, we become too simplistic. Like one of the things I've been looking into is really the universality of needs. Like, are needs universal? And then what does that mean? And what needs are universal then? And who decides? Who decides what is universal and not? So this is how to teach so that we don't create a set of rules, but that we actually share NVC in a way that becomes this super tool that it is.
When Marshall created nonviolent communication, that was a long time ago. So at that time, there were not research done on certain things. Our experience of, like Liv said, that we are triggered, for instance, that's our experience, and it helps us kind of act and move. But then it's kind of interesting now, a lot later, when research actually can measure things. So we can, old truths can be kind of re-looked at with more facts that we're trying to upgrade to 2026 version, because there's a lot of knowledge about things that weren't discovered yet during the 60s, 70s, 80s. Yeah, and then some practicalities. These are all on the webpage, but I just wanted to, we start in August, we end in April. There's 15 teacher-led sessions with me and Liv. We work Swedish time, start at 6 and end at 9. There'll be smaller exploration groups, almost as many. Sometimes people choose to meet more. And then there's books and there's a forum, and we have done some structural practices that you can incorporate in your everyday life. And then next year, the workbook will be even better. We don't want this. Do you want to say something about that, Lee?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the ways to describe it, what it is that we don't want. We've talked a lot about empathy, and empathy is one of those places where, with NVC practitioners, we become so much focused on listening to the other that sometimes we are we're overburdened with always being available for everyone, and we're not able to set boundaries. So we certainly don't want that. We want a balanced way of using NVC, empathy, honesty, all of those parts.
Kind of funny, actually. 2 days ago, I had those moments in my personal life where I had a friend who I needed to set boundaries, because otherwise he would just, like, we need to set boundaries when people don't care or don't, if they're blind to our, and that was so much fun, in the sense that how I experienced myself having a lot of judgments, being feeling a lot of irritation and against him, and then I took responsibility and took the time to talk about something, and how that invested in our relationship, and how much I can see my responsibility of creating my relationships. Part of that is the self connection, knowing what and when, and then set boundaries in a way that actually works. So yeah, so we're trying to practice what we teach as well.
And we actually have Rena there, maybe. Are you there, Rena? Because Rena is also part of this program. She's working with us in the mediation program, but she's also participating in the Reimagine. So do you want to add something, Rena? Would it be fun
Um,
for you to add something about your experience shortly of the
yeah, I think this program, is kind of has a much um, wider kind of base of knowledge and exploration than I imagined. Because I joined it for to look at two relationships in my life, one with my sister and another with the father of my kids, where I'm struggling in both these. And it has helped me to look at layers of conditioning that that comes in these relationships. At the same time, the journey that I've had with these two people as I've lived my life. So it's been really interesting to explore it from various various angles.
Hmm.
And it's really helping me to grow, at the same time to be more deeply connected with myself as who I am and who I long to be,
Hmm.
you know. So that is very, very helpful.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Mm,
I haven't
mm.
heard so much about your experience yet, so that was really nice.
I would like to ask a question. It was really a nice introduction, very clear, very interesting, and I would like to join. I think I would like to join this, but I wanted to ask you, how much experience do I need to join this group for this time?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm a very close friend to Christina Blecher,
Ah.
and we have been talking for years about this, and she's really a practitioner,
Hmm.
and I'm a teacher since 10 years, and I'm interested in people. And so back to, what do I need to be able to join this group?
It's a really good question, and good questions, I would say, sometimes are hard to answer.
Yes.
So on our webpage, we try to answer it in a kind of very squared way by talking or mentioning days of NVC training. But we all know that some people have 100 days, some they have 10 days, and they can, there's differences. So there's a couple of things that we have thought about, right, Liv? That yes, we need to have an understanding about nonviolent communication, probably practice it for X amount of years. Um, so it's not about learning NVC, because we kind of reimagining it. So, and to be able to reimagine something, we need to have an idea first. So that would be one way. And then the other one is the things that we presented. The If you find those things interesting, that might be like an impulse this might be really cool. If you hear or read on the webpage and no, these things are, what is this? Like there's a not so much curiosity about those things, then that might be a hint that, well, maybe not, or maybe later. Yeah.
And as Christina is in the program as well, you might also ask her, is this really for me? If she knows
Yeah.
you, like,
Yeah.
is there anything that I might miss if I don't have enough to then wait? But if she says yes, then I trust that you can, go for it. But there is, like, what we've seen is because we look at NVC and we've gotten it, someone presented it to us, like when we started exploring it. And then we want to kind of both go back to that, the first, and then reimagine what are the depth, what is the depth that we haven't kind of harvested yet? And we're not going to throw out NVC, but we're going to kind of see what is there more in that container that we are not kind of allowing to grow. So if to do that, of course, you need to have a stable kind of understanding of it.